I'm Lauren.
I'm so happy to meet you both.
You as
So
well.
tell me a little, thank you. So tell me a little bit about what made you decide to focus on this specific case. It's such an intense case and full of twists and turns. So why this particular one?
You want to feel that one, Ben?
Sure. So as a doc series piece, we're the beneficiaries of Lauren's long form article in the New Yorker from 2022, and this series came together with the support of Nat Geo, who found an opportunity to get into the true crime space through a story that really looks at the kind of complexities and contradictions of human behavior, kind of an anthropological pursuit of the people who are participating in this world, the sleuths, the journalists, the witnesses, the perpetrator, as well as the kind of meta narrative around examining our behaviors as audiences and storytellers in creating and growing the true crime genre. So the marriage of all those elements was the kind of impetus to make this doc series, and for me that kind of hit upon all of my natural curiosities and interests, and and there was great access to characters, an incredible article to build off of that outlined and shaped the cinematic opportunities here. And then for me personally, just an opportunity to work with Lauren Collins and the New Yorker was really a dream come true for me.
Lauren, do you have anything you want to add?
Yeah, when I first came to this story, what compelled me so much from the beginning was the layered nature of it. You have this kind of the primary story, which is a story of a man's decades long, um, you know, con and his kind of exploitation of these, vulnerabilities in the true crime landscape in the system. So that was kind of about these quantitative questions of who and where and when. But then layered on top of that, you have this meta story, an equally compelling story about the rise of true crime, about this true crime machine giving birth to a con rather than vice versa. Bourgoin was able to position himself at the convergence of law enforcement, of media, of social networks, and he kind of played every role in the true crime repertoire. So anyway, I was
And victims and survivors.
and victims as well. And so I found it really interesting to be able to tell again a story that asks these quantitative questions, the who's, when's, and where's, but also these qualitative ones about the whys and the hows all at once.
And what would you say was the biggest challenge about working on this particular case this season?
I think for me, the biggest challenge was it's a story about a liar lying, and I can say that because he says it too. And so the slipperiness of the facts of the sort of basic timeline. I mean, that was just the kind of like first level challenge. But then a deeper challenge is Ben and I went on. I mean, we had these really spirited conversations about you know how to be transparent, how to be ethical, how to be progressive, and you know, in telling these stories. And we had a lot of back and forth about that. I don't know if challenge is the word, but it was definitely like an opportunity that we wanted to seize. We thought we had the opportunity to do something unique with with this complex and kind of just multivalent layered nature of the story. I'll let Ben maybe take it from there, but
Yeah, I think challenge. I have the same kind of lens on it as Lauren is. Challenge. This field of work is written with challenges. It's how you frame it as opportunities, and how do you evolve the genre, the medium, the work for yourself and for your audiences. That challenge, is a mantle to try to pursue, and then that's the fun of the craft of all this. And Lauren had said earlier, timeline and truths are not horizontal. They're not these, especially in this story. There's one element that is quite linear, right? There is the kind of rise of true crime that really kind of coincides with Bourgoin's own rise, right? So that feels very clear and geometric, and you can follow that and track that. But what doesn't become very geometric in all of this is, people's recollections, subjective memory, and Bourgoin's own narrative. And so the challenge is trying preserve this timeline so our audience can track this growth, which feels very clean, but also try to really weave and braid Bourgoin's story in there, which is much softer, much murkier, much more fluid, and becomes something you have to try to have journalistic integrity with, but at the same time excavate out what is the truth. And as Lauren, what's your great line about truth and lies?
I think at one point we were talking about this on camera, and we were kind of having this back and forth about like, well, what's the point with, trying to like wring truth from a stone? Like, why are we sitting down with this guy that we know keeps lying? And what I said at the time, which I think somewhat captures the spirit of the series, is that lies can be what did I say? Something else. You can learn as much from lies as you can from the truth. And so
Sorry, I fell. My office is right next to a bathroom. What did you say?
not to worry, just that lies can be as informative really as the truth. You can as you can from the truth sometimes.
What was the most surprising thing you learned about everybody, about this case, about everything you did this season? What do you think was the most surprising fact that you learned?
Well, after I spent months just wrestling with this material as I wrote the article. I had a long time to work on it, but not, long enough. I had to just, write the article at some point. But once I finished, even after publishing, there was something that was absolutely gnawing at me, which was that I hadn't managed to uncover the identity of the woman in the photograph. Bourgoin, the protagonist, had a photograph that he would show every time as he spoke about the supposed murder of his wife. And he would always hold up this one picture and say, there she was. And it was a picture of a young couple, like it looked like it was taken in the 70s, looking very much, smitten with each other, very in love. And his wife had not actually been murdered. We knew that, the woman in the picture was not actually who he said she was. But, I took it as far as I could. And then collaborating with Ben and with our team, that was just a question I was really, really determined to track down. The fact that I really wanted to, nail down, although I hadn't been able to do it the first time around. So in the course of making the series, we were able to learn much more about that woman, her story, who she was, and what being, exploited and co-opted into this lie had meant to her. So for me, that was the big white whale of knowledge. And we, as a team, managed to take that a lot further.
Yeah, I'll say that's the same for me. That was one of the most compelling, maddening, and morally egregious things that he committed, and to be able to untangle that, and then make a really interesting editorial choice with how we reveal that information, and how we play that. I think that's exactly right. Is the main big learn of all this, because so much good work had been done by Lauren previously, that was the one element that we could collaborate on and take further.
Wonderful. Well, you guys did an amazing job. Sad this interview has to end because I'm loving learning about this. I'm loving learning about you guys, but thank you. I'm proud of you, and I can't wait to talk again soon.
Great.
Thanks so
Thank you.
much.
All right. Thank you.